Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Steve. Thanks for joining us today, this morning, or post broadcast via the recording. I really appreciate it. We're going to continue our month of talking about Microsoft licensing, CSP, NCE, all kinds of three-letter acronyms. Last couple of weeks, I've been talking about it with some different topics. The next couple of weeks, we've actually invited a couple of different folks from the Apex team who are real experts in what they do. So Brittany's joining us today. She's got some great insight, got some questions queued up for her. I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation around the things we do, the lessons we've learned, and some of the things that I think can really help out. Kudos to my marketing team for another great Steve graphic. I understand that I have to click my nose to advance the slides, so go ahead and do that. So what we're going to cover today is really talk about the program, how it actually simplifies, the life of customers, their buying journey, and the different things that they are going to experience when dealing with Microsoft licensing. I know Brittany's going to have some best practices to share and really have some insight. She's been with Apex a few years now and has seen, not just a ton of customers and a ton of experiences, but also has been through a number of changes and different things that have happened in the environment. And then we're going to talk a little bit about sort of the beyond CSP, NCE engagement, some different things that the partners bring to the table. So, partners' ability to help customers navigate licensing, as well as add support, add expertise. I know one of the things that we talk about a lot, whether it's licensing or whether it's tenant-to-tenant migrations or whether it's building you an amazing Microsoft Teams room, is that because we have this experience that sort of cuts across multiple customers, we really bring that best practice that you just don't get if you're only doing it for yourself. Microsoft talks up this same approach when it comes to things like looking for malware or fighting spam. If you're just one tenant, you just see your slice of all the spam emails that are going out. But if you're Microsoft, you see that same email hit 4,700 tenants at the same time, and you go, probably it's probably crap, right? But if you're the one tenant getting the one email, it feels a little bit different. And so our approach with customers is similar in the sense that we have dozens, if not hundreds of customers. And because of that, we see a lot of different things. And so with that, let's go ahead and bring Brittany into the conversation. We're doing some behind the scenes production work. Brittany, it's good to see you this morning.
Hello.
So thanks for joining me. And before we get started, why don't you just take a couple of seconds and tell us who you are and kind of what your role is here at Apex.
Yeah, so I'm Brittany DeSico. I'm the sales director here at Apex. Work on a team with a couple different sellers, as well as inside sales and procurement. So when it comes to licensing, not only are myself and my team selling the solutions, but we're also doing the back end, renewals, contracts, getting the customer set up in storefront and helping guide them on their journey on CSP. So kind of a full circle moment for CSP on my team.
Very cool. And so let's start there, right? So I keep calling it CSP. But actually, about a year and a half ago, there was, for a lot of commercial customers, a really big transition called NCE, or the New Commerce Experience. Unfortunately, that acronym has stuck. It's just not very informative. Yes, it's a new commerce experience, but I'm not sure how that's important to customers. And so that was actually one of the things that you were really key on. So let's just start there. So the program is actually called NCE now, and there was a huge transition about 18 months ago. What did Microsoft change, and what did they kind of try to improve with this iteration of the program?
Yeah, so legacy, which is CSP as it was in the past, you could purchase licensing at any time. You had a bunch of different contracts going. So from an annual commit, you were locked in for your pricing for a year, but you could really change your licensing at any time. You could cancel, you could move up and down. So there was a lot of flexibility, but there was also a lot of variation in contracts and billing cycles and stuff like that. And so, in an effort to kind of streamline things and make it easier for one full cycle and everything like that, they introduced NCE. And so, what that meant for commercial customers only was that they were going to introduce three different purchasing types, which would be annual paid up front, annual commit billed monthly, which was similar to legacy. And then there was the month to month, which was really similar to legacy, in which you can still move your licenses up and down, change SKUs from a month to month basis, but it does come with a 20% premium. So a little cost of flexibility, but you still have all three options there to stay similar to what they were experiencing before.
I'm sure Microsoft would frame that as that there's a 20% discount for going annual rather than 20% premium for staying monthly.
Absolutely.
But your point is well taken. And so that's a pretty big change. And you said for commercial customers. And so one of the things I knew I wanted to ask you about, they're important customers to us. They're important customers to a lot of partners out there. And there's probably nonprofits in the audience right now. And so I understand that some of these changes are coming for other sort of licensing customer types, right? So are nonprofits soon on the hook for this NCE transition?
Yeah, so no formal dates, but there is talk that before the end of the year, these NCE SKUs will be coming out for government, education, and charity. So those will be coming, and sometime in FY24, as those annual legacy contracts renew, there will be an auto shift to the NCE model. So something that I'm going to be really passionate about with all of our customers that fall in that space is getting ahead of it, talking about what the program's going to look like for them, and getting them moved over before it's kind of a shift that's forced.
Okay.
So it's really important because you want to make sure that you have your, like, we learned a lot in commercial. And so especially with co-termination and different contracts, it's really important to get everything kind of organized and over in one full swoop. You don't want to be doing things. Some things are in legacy, some things are in NCE. It's a lot easier for the customer if everything just moves into one transition.
Yeah, so that was one of the things you mentioned, and one of the things I knew I wanted to ask about is in legacy, or even with some of customers' direct relationships, they end up with a bunch of contracts, right? They are all different. And so one of the things that I know that you helped our customers really understand and implement was this co-term, or all these contracts ending at the same time. So can you kind of explain what that is and why it's important that customers think about that as they transition, or as they buy licenses?
Yeah, so a lot of our customers do annual commit billed monthly. And so what that means is when it comes time for renewal of these contracts, it's really important that we have all of their SKUs on one contract period. So let's say somebody transitioned today and it's September of 2024. Instead of having like to reach out 5 times within the year to talk about what do you want to do with this license? Because at the time of your renewal is when you can talk about, do you want to downgrade? Do you want to remove some seats? Because at the renewal period is the only time that you can do that type of stuff. You can always add seats and you can always upgrade. But when it's time for renewal is when you can make those other changes. And so when you have that conversation just once a year, it's so much simpler than me reaching out every couple of months with a different contract that's expiring. And so with co-termination on NCE, if you were to lock into a contract today until September of 24, and you came to me in March of 24 and wanted to add a new SKU, we can co-terminate that with the September end date, which is really nice because then we're just having a conversation once a year. We're making decisions once a year. It's not like all over the map.
Yeah, and so even with NCE, how do customers end up in that scenario? I think it has to do with adding a new license type, like something you've never bought before. Is that how that happens?
Yeah, brand new SKU only. So you can always add seats to your existing contract. You can always upgrade based on the different upgrades that are available for the certain SKUs. But whenever you're adding a net new SKU during a contract period, that's when you want to really make sure that you're asking your partner about co-termination, so you don't have all these different contract end dates.
So another question for you is you and your team do an amazing job, not just helping customers, but oftentimes, with your inside sales crew, executing the purchase, like adding additional licenses, doing those kinds of things. But I understand, and I need some education on this, that there is via our partners a storefront or some customized, retail kind of experience we can present to customers for buying their own licensing. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I know that's sort of driven by the distributors that we buy from, but it's something that the customers see and can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. So storefront is something that our customers love. So we can set it up. There's different parameters we can put in place. There's different users that they can get access to, but it's a customized SKU to them, or not SKU, a URL to them that they can log in with their own credentials, and then they can see all their different licensing that they have purchased through us. And then from there, they have the ability to add seats on their own. So it's not like you have a new group of users starting and you have to reach out to me and I have to set the licensing, add the licensing. You can go on and add the licensing yourself, which is really nice because our customers like to be able to do some things on their own without having to feel like they're held hostage, by their partner, something like that. So I think it gives them the ability to really have some freedom and be able to add seats where they need to. On the other side of the coin is when they're adding a new SKU, they just reach out because we'll have to talk pricing and all that type of stuff. But once they own the SKU, they can go in and they can add seats. If they are still in legacy, they can remove seats as well.
Okay. So that it's a customized store, but it also provides this nice constraint because I know historically, and maybe we still run into some of these customers, their purchases are all over the map. They have 10 different license types for this people doing the same job. Is that something that you still run into?
Um, Not so much anymore because
Okay.
we are taking that first look. And that's something that we bring as a partner. So something that's really important to us is making sure that customers, we do a licensing review. So if you're coming to bring your licensing over to us, we're going to want to sit down and talk to you. What do you have currently licensed today? Is it appropriate? Like, what are your goals and objectives as a company? What types of software do you have deployed today? Are you paying for something twice? Does it make sense that you have a lower SKU and have these add-ons, or is it more expensive? Should you just go to the next level because it's going to be more cost effective? So we really like to take a full look before we get you set up on a contract to make sure that the licensing is appropriate for you.
Okay. Yeah, because one of the ways that customers I know historically and some still today buy is direct from Microsoft, right? Just like AWS or any of the cloud, platforms out there, you can slap down a credit card and buy licenses and add them directly. But the partner model is a little bit different. Maybe, I know we migrate some people away from that direct purchase, and maybe just talk a little bit about how you work with those customers and kind of what's the pitch, right? Like what's the partner value proposition if at the end of the day, the perceived cost is either the same or really, really close?
Yeah, so pricing is going to be the same for the most part. There are different programs that we offer where there's some discounting available, but from the
You've
most
also been known to negotiate every once in a while
Yeah,
too.
every once in a while, I can help sweeten the deal. But from a standpoint of MSRP, we're pretty much going to be apples to apples. But there's added benefits. So I talked about the licensing review, the storefront ability, which you do have that at Microsoft, but it's got a little bit of it's got some rails around it when you're using our storefront. It's not just like the wild, wild west where anybody could just add whatever they'd like. The other thing is the level 1 support. So you'd have access to our ticketing system and where you could submit support tickets for your licensing that you have. And Microsoft is what we kind of live and breathe here at Apex. And so we're deploying all these different workloads. And so we have a lot of experience. So most of the time, we're going to be able to answer your questions, give you the advisory and the guidance and help that you need. However, if it's a Microsoft problem, or if it's something that, we just can't answer, we'll open a ticket on your behalf with Microsoft, which is really nice, because then we're going to be bird dogging the ticket. It's backed by a limited SLO matrix. So it gives you some kind of peace of mind on when you can expect responses and stuff like that. So it adds something on top, and I kind of think it's a no-brainer. I mean, you get added benefit at no additional cost, and maybe even a discount.
Right. And this has been, as most folks watching know, I'm a former Microsoft employee. This is really the Microsoft model at work, which is, even if there are direct lines, what they usually do is offer things to partners so partners can add value, right? Transparently. There's a reason for us to transact these licenses, whether it's some incentives on the backside, improving our relationship with Microsoft, having more customers to meet, to look for other opportunities. And so Microsoft has always enabled this model, which is like, yeah, you can buy for us, or you can go over here. And we've done some things, so there's a bunch of value add. So it seems like it's a pretty easy conversation when you talk about someone who's just direct purchasing from Microsoft.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then, so when it comes to billing, who does the bill come from? Does it come from Microsoft? Does it come from our distributor? Does it come from us? How does that work?
So it comes from us. So that's the other nice thing. It's like, if you're already working with us, you already have managed services, you're already doing project work, you're already set up in our system, and the bill will come direct from us. It's billed in arrears. So let's say you do an upgrade, or you add a seat or something like that throughout the duration of the month. It would just be added to at a prorated cost on your next bill.
So you talked about support, and when you engage with us around CSP, NCE, whatever you want to call it, purchasing your licensing from us, there's a level of support we do. But rumor has it, here at Apex, we've got some advanced support offerings, right? So we've got Empower offerings. And so maybe just to talk to me a little bit about how you explain to customers the value add above and beyond that when it comes to, say, our entry-level Empower offering. What's the difference?
Yeah, so I already talked about the benefits of CSP Direct with Apex, and so we do the licensing reviews, and we have the storefront, and you have that level one with the limited SLO response time. But something that's going to make something I'm very passionate about that we offer is our Empower for M365, and really what that is it's a support and advisory vehicle for the M365 stack. And so you're making this large investment into, let's say, E5. And so you've got all your employees on this, it's an expensive SKU with a lot of benefit. And so the nice thing about working with Apex is that we deploy E5 all the time. So we're going to be able to take a look and see what workloads do you have deployed in that licensing set. Are you fully utilizing it? Do you have, like I kind of talked about, do you have duplicate software services that you can get rid of and help save some money there? And are you really getting the ROI? Do you have Defender in your stack, but you're paying for something else and you don't have it deployed? Or are you paying for something in your stack that you're not utilizing today, but that would help with one of the initiatives you have for your business? So I just think that it's so key to have the Empower agreement in place because of the experts that we have on staff. A lot of IT staff, they're pulled in so many different directions. And so we're really there to be the Microsoft experts in your space, in the investment that you're making into the stack.
No, and what you said triggered one more thing, which is, I think sometimes there's a misconception about, because you said E5, right? You threw out that licensing term. That's an advanced license. It's for the enterprise. I mean, with CSP, we can sell you anything, right? It's not just the business level stuff or the small business stuff. We can sell you hundreds, if not thousands, of licenses that are at the top of the food chain.
Yep, absolutely. So there's so many different licensing types, and our our main focus and our main mission is to, solve, don't sell. And so really making sure that we pick the right combination, that it's going to fit the needs of the business. There's so many things to think about. You talk about calling plans and all that type of stuff. It can get pretty complex pretty quickly. So always just making sure that we have our customer set up in the right way. And the other thing is that there's other types of licensing that we talked about that's moving to NCE. So we have a lot of nonprofit customers. So we understand different benefits that you can get, different, free licensing that's available through being a nonprofit or EDU, GovCloud, that type of stuff, GCC, all the different types of licensing. We have customers in those different spaces, so we understand, you know, all the different types of clients that are really out there.
So one last question before I let you go, and I promise not to tell your boss, but it kind of sounds like at times you've talked customers into, hey, you don't need this license. This one will fit your needs better. And that's something that we do all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Customers hear something or they see something, they hear something somebody else is doing. And sometimes it's too big for them. Because there are these big licenses that sometimes do make sense, but then sometimes we see customers come to us and it's like, you have way too much for what you're doing. And so we're really here to really help guide based on, customer goals and roadmap initiatives, all that type of stuff. We want to be a trusted advisor and a partner with our customers. So
I lied. One last question, right? And you mentioned it around professional services. It sounds like one of the advantages of having a team like Apex helping you with your licensing is then we can turn around and do a really good job of mapping professional services into your environment so that you're adopting what you're buying. You're maximizing your investment in licensing. I kind of picked up on that as you were talking.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key selling point. It's the ROI. So, you're a small company and you're going to go from, business standard to business premium. And so you have talk about Defender. That's a big SKU that comes along with that. And so, okay, you make that investment, but then what are you going to do about it? And so from the professional services side, we'll be able to talk through what are the benefits that you have included in your licensing package, and then what are the different deployments that we're going to roll out. We're going to help with the planning, we can help with the pilot, and then we can help with the full deployment rollout, communication to the end customers. Those are types of plans that we can help you as a company really get set up for success and making the most out of the licensing that you're paying for.
Awesome. So, hey, this has been great. Anything I didn't ask you that you were just absolutely so excited to talk about today?
No, not that I can think of. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Awesome.
From CSP.
Like I said, I won't tell your boss about that downselling customers to match what they actually need. Okay. Well, hey, Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Hope to have you on again real soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
So that was super, super informative. As you can see, folks like Brittany here at Apex, they're the brains of the operation. They're really what makes our business sing. So I'll just wrap it up the way I normally do, talking a little bit about us. I think you got a sense of it from Brittany and all the insight she has into this part of the business. But we really bring that across the entire spectrum, whether it's professional and managed services, or whether it's our ability to deliver licensing and the products you need. We really have the team ready to go and to be able to deliver for you and be able to get you, adopting and using the things that you need. And so my apologies, I went the wrong direction here. I wanted to talk about next steps. Obviously, if you're a customer already, reach out to your account executive. Let them know that you'd like a licensing review, that you're interested in ensuring that your purchasing is matched with your needs or what your roadmap looks like for the near future. If you're not a customer, reach out to me, sthompson@apexdigital.com, or reach out directly to Brittany and her sales team via sales@apexdigital.com. They stand at the ready to help you with anything that you need. I also wanted to sneak in this pitch again. We have an amazing solution for Teams rooms, including signature rooms, including all the different spaces, whether they're huddle or small, medium, large, custom rooms. We have the ability to really both standardize and roll out a lot of rooms. We're working with a couple of organizations right now that have a couple of key room types in their hybrid environment, and we've got a solution that we're repeating over and over. Great supportability, great price point when it comes to having standardization, all the way up through our ability to custom deliver rooms. We've done some kooky rooms, glass walls, big ceilings, mobile dividers that come and go. We've got a great engineering staff that can really land that custom room if that's the piece you're looking for. So it's always fun to have guests on and really get their insight as well. If you visit our website directly, you can just head to WAC CSP and see our offerings in this space and get connected with Brittany and team. So with that, thanks for joining us this time on Fridays with Steve, and we'll see you again next time.